The common theme in all of these challenges is Iran. It is the single greatest source of instability in the region. Behind every terrorist group, behind every act of violence, behind every destabilizing activity, behind everything that threatens peace and stability for the millions of people who call this region home, is Iran. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. It is an honor to be back here. I've been here many times before as an American visiting, and then as a member of the United States Senate, but now for the first time as the Secretary of State of the United States, and it's an honor to be here. And it's an honor to serve in this role on behalf of President Donald Trump, who, as you've accurately stated, Mr. Prime Minister, is a tremendous friend of Israel. There's been no stronger ally for Israel in the White House than President Trump. He's also a man that speaks clearly and unambiguously and makes clear his views on issues. The first he's made clear is, and as you've pointed out, and the hostages need to come home, they need to be released, and you work in very close coordination with him. He's working in very close coordination, but with the Prime Minister and his government in ensuring that that happens. That must happen. It's not optional. And would add that that's a goal we share in common, and that is something we work on very closely together. The President's also been very bold about his view of what the future for Gaza should be. Not the same tired ideas of the past, but something that's bold and something that, frankly, took courage and vision in order to outline. And it may have shocked and surprised many, but what cannot continue is the same cycle where we repeat over and over again and wind up in the exact same place. Related to that, the President's been very clear. Hamas cannot continue as a military or government force. And frankly, as long as it stands as a force that can govern, or as a force that can administer, or as a force that can threaten by use of violence, peace becomes impossible. They must be eliminated. They must be eradicated. On the broader issues that we discussed as well is the questions in Syria. And while the fall of Assad is certainly promising and important, if Syria replacing one destabilizing force for another is not a positive development. And that is something that we will watch very carefully as we seek to craft our own strategy with regards to how to approach the events in Syria. In the case of Lebanon, our goals are aligned and the same. A strong Lebanese state that can take on and disarm Hezbollah. The common theme in all of these challenges is Iran. It is the single greatest source of instability in the region. Behind every terrorist group, behind every act of violence, behind every destabilizing activity, behind everything that threatens peace and stability for the millions of people who call this region home, is Iran. And by Iran, I mean the Ayatollahs. By Iran, I mean its regime. A regime who, by the way, its people don't support. The people of Iran are victims of that regime. And so I think it's important to constantly point that whether we talk about Hamas, or we talk about Hezbollah, or we talk about violence in the West Bank, or we talk about destabilization in Syria, or we talk about any of these issues, the militias in Iraq, they all have behind them one common theme: Iran. And that must be addressed. And there can never be a nuclear Iran. A nuclear Iran that could then hold itself immune from pressure and from action. That can never happen.